WHO guidelines regarding production, quality control or quality assurance. Respected readers, WHO guidelines on production, quality control or quality assurance is a very much lengthy topic. For convenience, we have divided this topic into some parts. The current lecture is only summary of the topic. Get this lecture in text or PDF form from our YouTube channel, Pharmacy Jobs or MCQs. 1. This lecture is available in text form, in the comments under this video, at our YouTube channel, Pharmacy Jobs or MCQs. 2. This lecture is also available in PDF form, in the community section inside our YouTube channel, Pharmacy Jobs or MCQs. WHO guidelines regarding production. Question 1. 120 short answers about WHO guidelines about production. 1. WHO stands for the World Health Organization, a specialized agency of the United Nations responsible for international public health. 2. WHO provides guidelines on various aspects of production to ensure safety, quality, and efficacy. 3. Production guidelines encompass various industries, including pharmaceuticals, medical devices, food, and more. 4. WHO's Good Manufacturing Practices (GMP) set standards for quality control and assurance in production processes. 5. GMP guidelines emphasize proper facilities, equipment, processes, and personnel training. 6. WHO guidelines address the production of essential medicines and vaccines to ensure access to critical healthcare products. 7. The Pre-Qualification of Medicines Program assesses product quality for procurement by international organizations. 8. WHO promotes the use of international pharmacopoeias to standardize pharmaceutical production. 9. GMP guidelines encompass areas such as documentation, validation, quality control, and hygiene. Thus, WHO's guidelines on active pharmaceutical ingredients (APIs) stress their quality and safety. 11. The International Non-Proprietary Name (INN) system promotes clear drug identification. 12. WHO promotes research and development for neglected diseases and orphan drugs. 13. WHO guidelines encourage the use of traditional medicine when safe and effective. 14. Guidelines for medical devices ensure their safety and effectiveness. 15. WHO's Vaccine Production and Development Department supports vaccine quality and access. 16. WHO's GMP guidelines are recognized globally for ensuring pharmaceutical quality. 17. WHO promotes fair pricing of medicines and technologies. 18. Guidelines emphasize traceability and accountability in production processes. 19. WHO supports countries in strengthening their pharmaceutical production capacities. 20. WHO encourages partnerships to enhance production capabilities in low-resource settings. 21. GMP guidelines apply to the entire production life cycle, from raw materials to finished products. 22. Quality risk management (QRM) principles are crucial in production processes. 23. WHO's Essential Medicines List guides countries on prioritizing production and procurement. 24. Pharmaceutical quality assurance is a core aspect of GMP guidelines. 25. WHO provides guidelines for the production of biological medicines. 26. Good distribution practices (GDP) ensure proper handling and transportation of products. 27. WHO advocates for proper waste disposal and environmental protection in production. 28. Production guidelines emphasize the importance of product labeling and packaging. 29. WHO supports the development of local production capabilities in low-income countries. 30. Guidelines highlight the need for proper storage conditions to maintain product quality. 31. WHO promotes access to diagnostics, including production of accurate and reliable tests. 32. Production guidelines address the prevention of cross-contamination and mix-ups. 33. WHO emphasizes the importance of qualified personnel in production facilities. 34. Guidelines stress the use of validated processes and equipment. 35. WHO supports the use of technology to improve production processes. 36. Guidelines on research ethics ensure the responsible conduct of studies. 37. WHO international health regulations guide the production of safe food. 38. WHO collaborates with other international organizations to harmonize production standards. 39. Guidelines for producing sterile products focus on minimizing microbial contamination. 40. WHO encourages the use of post-marketing surveillance to monitor product safety. 41. The Global Foodborne Infections Network (GFN) supports surveillance and response. 42. WHO's guidelines on production contribute to achieving universal health coverage. 43. Guidelines on good agricultural practices (GAP) ensure safe food production. 44. WHO's emergency use listing (EUL) expedites access to health products during crises. 45. Production guidelines help prevent substandard and counterfeit products. 46. WHO's global model regulatory framework facilitates medical product registration. 47. Guidelines for production facilities include requirements for ventilation and sanitation. 48. WHO supports training programs for production personnel. 49. Guidelines for producing biologics emphasize quality control and safety. 50. WHO's guidelines align with the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). 51. Guidelines for blood and blood products ensure their safety and availability. 52. WHO assists countries in building quality assurance laboratories. 53. Good laboratory practices (GLP) guidelines ensure accurate testing and analysis. 54. Guidelines on production scale-up address challenges during expansion. 55. WHO's guidelines contribute to the achievement of health-related SDGs. 56. Guidelines for production equipment maintenance ensure reliable performance. 57. WHO promotes international collaboration in health product regulation. 58. Guidelines for herbal medicines address safety, efficacy, and quality. Insert. WHO supports innovation in health product production. SART. Guidelines on biotechnology products focus on risk assessment and quality control. Excerpt. Loose guidelines on production contribute to strengthening health systems. 62. Guidelines for radiation-emitting devices ensure user safety. 63. WHO provides guidance on the production of medical gases. 64. Guidelines for production documentation include batch records and standard operating procedures. 65. Loose guidelines on production facilitate trade in health products. 66. Guidelines on production waste disposal address environmental impact. 67. WHO supports the development of national regulatory authorities. 68. Guidelines on tissue and cell-based products ensure their safety and quality. 69. Loose guidelines contribute to improving access to essential health products. 70. Guidelines for radiopharmaceuticals ensure their safe production and use. 71. WHO promotes harmonization of regulatory requirements. 72. Guidelines on production inspections ensure compliance with quality standards. 73. WHO assists countries in addressing antimicrobial resistance through production practices. 74. Guidelines for production of medical devices consider user safety and usability. 75. WHO supports countries in establishing pharmacovigilance systems. 76. Guidelines on gene therapy products focus on safety and long-term effects. 77. Loose guidelines on production align with international trade agreements. 78. Guidelines for production of controlled substances address their proper handling. 79. WHO encourages research and development for health products relevant to neglected populations. 80. Guidelines on production quality control address batch release and testing. 81. WHO supports the development of local production hubs. BioAssay. Guidelines on production of nanomedicines consider their unique properties. 83. WHO assists countries in assessing production capacities and gaps. 84. Guidelines for production facilities ensure compliance with safety regulations. 85. WHO promotes equitable access to health products through production. 86. Guidelines on production of vaccines emphasize safety and potency. 87. WHO supports the implementation of international quality standards. 88. Guidelines for biopharmaceutical production address complex processes. 90. WHO assists countries in establishing post-market surveillance systems. 90. Guidelines on production of radiological health products ensure proper shielding. 91. Loose guidelines contribute to building resilient health systems. 92. Guidelines for the production of medical equipment ensure proper functioning. 93. WHO promotes public-private partnerships to enhance production capacities. 94. Guidelines on production of herbal supplements address labeling and claims. 95. WHO supports countries in conducting technology transfers for production. 96. Guidelines on personalized medicines consider patient-specific factors. 97. Loose guidelines on production contribute to health security. 98. Guidelines for production of biosimilars focus on comparability studies. 99. WHO assists countries in overcoming regulatory challenges in production. 100. Guidelines on production of pharmaceutical excipients ensure safety and quality. 101. WHO promotes transparency and information sharing in production. 102. Guidelines for production of diagnostic reagents ensure accurate results. 103. WHO supports research on innovative production technologies. 104. Guidelines on production of orphan drugs address unique challenges. 105. Whose guidelines contribute to the strengthening of supply chains. 106. Guidelines for production of therapeutic monoclonal antibodies focus on specificity. 107. WHO assists countries in implementing risk management strategies. 108. Guidelines on production of antimicrobial agents address stewardship. 109. WHO promotes technology transfer and capacity building in production. 110. Guidelines for production of traditional medicines consider cultural aspects. 111. Whose guidelines contribute to the prevention of substandard products. 112. Guidelines on production of in vitro diagnostics ensure accuracy. 113. WHO supports the development of quality assurance systems. 114. Guidelines for production of recombinant proteins address expression and purification. 115. WHO promotes research on novel production methodologies. 116. Guidelines on production of veterinary medicines ensure animal health. 117. WHO assists countries in developing regulatory frameworks for production. 118. Guidelines for production of biodevices ensure biocompatibility. 119. Whose guidelines contribute to fostering innovation in production. 120. Guidelines for production of health technologies address affordability. WHO guidelines regarding production. Question 1. 25 very important points regarding WHO guidelines on production. 1. Quality assurance and GMP. WHO emphasizes adherence to good manufacturing practices, GMP, to ensure the consistent quality, safety, and efficacy of health products during production. 2. Essential medicines. Guidelines focus on the production of essential medicines, ensuring their availability, accessibility, and affordability for all populations. 3. Pharmaceuticals. WHO sets standards for the production of pharmaceuticals, covering everything from raw materials and facilities to labeling and distribution. 4. Vaccines. Guidelines ensure the safe and effective production of vaccines, crucial for preventing and controlling infectious diseases. 5. Medical devices. WHO provides recommendations for the production of medical devices, addressing design, manufacturing, and post-market surveillance. 6. Quality control. Stringent quality control measures are outlined to monitor and verify the consistency and safety of products during production. 7. Supply chain management. WHO guidelines contribute to building resilient supply chains that can efficiently produce, store, and distribute health products. 8. Local production capacity. WHO supports the development of local production capabilities, particularly in resource-constrained settings, to enhance access to essential health products. 9. Regulatory harmonization. WHO promotes harmonization of production standards and regulatory processes globally, facilitating trade and quality assurance. Thus, safety and efficacy. Guidelines ensure that health products are produced in a manner that guarantees their safety, efficacy, and appropriate quality. DRAP. Risk management. Production guidelines incorporate risk assessment and risk management strategies to identify and mitigate potential hazards. BioAssay. Innovation. WHO encourages the adoption of innovative technologies and processes to improve production efficiency and product quality. DRAP. Public health emergencies. Specific guidelines address the rapid and safe production of health products during emergencies, ensuring timely response and availability. Chowdhury. Quality documentation. Comprehensive documentation practices are recommended, including batch records, standard operating procedures, and quality control reports. 15. Pharmacovigilance. Guidelines support the establishment of pharmacovigilance systems to monitor and assess the safety of health products post-production. 16. Environmental considerations. WHO underscores environmentally responsible production practices, including waste disposal and sustainable resource use. 17. Access to medicines. Guidelines contribute to the equitable access to medicines, promoting fair pricing and availability for underserved populations. 18. Biotechnology and biologics. Specialized guidelines cover the complex production processes of biopharmaceuticals and biotechnology products. 19. Traditional medicine. WHO provides guidance on the safe and effective production of traditional and herbal medicines, integrating traditional knowledge with modern practices. 20. Quality control laboratories. Guidelines support the establishment and operation of quality control laboratories to ensure product testing and verification. 21. Capacity building. WHO assists countries in strengthening their production capabilities through training, technology transfer, and infrastructure development. 22. Collaboration. International collaboration is encouraged to share best practices, expertise, and resources to enhance production capacities. 23. Medical waste management. Guidelines address the proper handling and disposal of medical waste generated during production processes. 24. Post-market surveillance. Monitoring the safety and quality of products in the market after production is emphasized to identify and address potential issues. 25. Equity and health system strengthening. WHO guidelines contribute to the broader goal of strengthening health systems and promoting health equity through improved production practices. On quality control. Question 1. 120 very important points about WHO guidelines regarding quality control. 1. Quality control (QC) ensures products meet predetermined quality standards. 2. WHO guidelines on QC cover various sectors, including pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and health technologies. 3. QC involves testing, inspection, and monitoring at different stages of production. 4. Accurate and validated analytical methods are crucial for effective QC. 5. QC helps prevent substandard or counterfeit products from entering the market. 6. Whose QC guidelines emphasize adherence to good laboratory practices, GLP. 7. Stability testing assesses a product's shelf life under various conditions. 8. QC involves comparing test results with established specifications. 9. Process validation ensures consistency and reliability during production. Thus, QC helps ensure the safety and efficacy of medicines and medical devices. 11. Quality control units oversee and manage QC activities in production. 12. Quality control laboratories play a central role in QC testing. 13. Sampling procedures are critical for obtaining representative test results. 14. WHO supports the use of validated reference standards in QC. 15. QC includes physical, chemical, and biological testing. 16. Quality control officers are responsible for QC implementation. 17. QC verifies the identity, purity, and potency of active ingredients. 18. In-process controls monitor production during different stages. 19. QC helps detect and prevent potential hazards or deviations. 20. Microbiological testing assesses microbial contamination. 21. QC documentation includes test protocols and results. 22. QC promotes continuous improvement in production processes. 23. Analytical equipment calibration is essential for accurate testing. 24. Stability data informs product storage conditions and expiration dates. 25. Whose QC guidelines ensure compliance with good manufacturing practices, GMP. 26. QC testing ensures compliance with pharmacopoeial standards. 27. Batch release involves QC approval before product distribution. 28. QC helps ensure consistency among batches of the same product. 29. Training and competency of QC personnel are vital. 30. Data integrity is essential for reliable QC results. 31. Environmental monitoring assesses production cleanliness. 32. QC helps identify trends and potential deviations. 33. Whose guidelines address QC for biopharmaceuticals and vaccines. 34. Quality control officers collaborate with production teams. 35. QC testing includes raw materials, intermediates, and finished products. 36. Validation protocols ensure methods are accurate and reliable. 37. QC testing may involve destructive or non-destructive methods. 38. QC helps minimize product recalls and safety issues. 39. Statistical analysis aids in interpreting QC results. 40. Outsourcing QC activities requires clear agreements and oversight. 41. Risk-based approaches prioritize critical QC testing. 42. WHO supports the use of validated computerized systems for QC. 43. QC testing includes visual inspection for defects. 44. Rejection criteria are established to reject non-conforming products. 45. QC addresses potential cross-contamination risks. 46. QC includes testing for dissolution and disintegration. 47. QC laboratories follow specific safety guidelines. 48. QC contributes to building trust in health products. 49. QC helps ensure consistent dosage forms and strengths. 50. Documentation of QC activities is auditable and traceable. 51. Analytical method validation assesses accuracy and reliability. 52. WHO promotes QC capacity building in low resource settings. 53. QC involves rigorous documentation of deviations and investigations. 54. Real-time monitoring assesses critical production parameters. 55. Validation of cleaning procedures prevents cross-contamination. 56. QC supports early detection of equipment malfunctions. 57. Stability studies assess product quality over time. 58. QC testing ensures adherence to product specifications. Insert. Quality control officers collaborate with regulatory authorities. 60. Whose QC guidelines align with international quality standards. 61. Regulatory compliance is a key goal of QC activities. 62. QC helps identify counterfeit or falsified products. 63. QC addresses risks associated with excipients and additives. 64. Analytical method transfer ensures consistent testing across labs. 65. QC supports compliance with labeling and packaging requirements. 66. Quality control laboratories must meet specific infrastructure standards. 67. QC helps ensure reliable and accurate labeling claims. 68. QC personnel follow established safety protocols. 69. QC activities are documented in detailed test records. 70. Whose QC guidelines consider technology advancements. 71. QC addresses potential variations in product quality. 72. Analytical equipment qualification ensures accurate results. 73. QC testing ensures compliance with dosage accuracy. 74. QC helps assess the uniformity of dosage forms. 75. Whose guidelines promote harmonization of QC practices. 76. QC contributes to preventing adverse events. 77. QC supports batch-to-batch consistency. 78. Validation of packaging materials ensures product integrity. 79. QC helps ensure proper storage conditions. 80. Quality control officers review and approve QC data. 81. QC addresses contamination risks in production. 82. WHO supports QC training and capacity building programs. 83. QC includes particle size analysis and distribution. 84. QC verifies compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. 85. QC documentation includes methods, specifications, and results. 86. QC supports effective product recalls, if necessary. 87. Quality control laboratories undergo regular audits. 88. QC activities are aligned with product stability profiles. 90. QC contributes to the accuracy of product labeling. 90. Analytical method validation considers sensitivity and specificity. 91. QC personnel adhere to ethical standards. 92. QC helps ensure uniformity in dosage delivery. 93. Whose QC guidelines consider different dosage forms. Choranve. QC includes testing for impurities and degradation products. Pachchanve. QC supports data-driven decision-making in production. Chianve. Analytical instrument qualification ensures reliable testing. Sattanve. QC addresses potential risks from packaging materials. Atthanve. WHO promotes transparency and communication in QC. Ninanve. QC helps detect changes in product attributes. 100. QC contributes to traceability and accountability. 101. Analytical method validation considers linearity and range. 102. QC ensures compliance with product monographs. 103. QC supports compliance with storage and transportation requirements. 104. WHO's guidelines cover QC for radiopharmaceuticals. 105. QC addresses risks related to water and air quality. 106. QC documentation includes validation reports and certificates. 107. Analytical method validation assesses robustness and ruggedness. 108. QC helps maintain product quality throughout its shelf life. 109. QC supports compliance with good distribution practices (GDP). 110. QC includes testing for preservatives and antioxidants. 111. WHO's QC guidelines emphasize risk management. 112. QC supports compliance with pharmacopoeial standards. 113. QC contributes to the accuracy of patient dosing. 114. Analytical method validation considers accuracy and precision. 115. QC addresses potential variations in bioavailability. 116. QC helps ensure reliable and consistent product performance. 117. QC supports compliance with regulatory commitments. 118. QC includes testing for identity and uniformity. 119. Analytical method validation considers repeatability and reproducibility. 120. QC plays a crucial role in ensuring safe and effective health products. Question 2. 50 major things to remember in WHO guidelines on the topic of quality control. 1. Ensuring product quality. WHO guidelines on quality control (QC) are designed to ensure that health products consistently meet established quality standards. 2. Defining quality parameters. Guidelines specify parameters for identity, purity, potency, and safety of health products. 3. Preventing substandard products. QC helps prevent the entry of substandard, counterfeit, or falsified products into the market. 4. Compliance with standards. WHO guidelines align with international standards, such as good manufacturing practices (GMP) and pharmacopoeial requirements. 5. Thorough testing protocols. Guidelines outline comprehensive testing procedures for raw materials, intermediates, and finished products. 6. Pharmaceuticals and medical devices. QC principles apply to pharmaceuticals, medical devices, biologics, and other health technologies. 7. Laboratory practices. Emphasis on good laboratory practices (GLP) to ensure accurate and reliable testing. 8. Risk-based approach. Guidelines encourage a risk-based approach to prioritize critical QC testing based on potential impact. No. Analytical method validation. Ensuring accuracy, reliability, and suitability of analytical methods used in QC. Thus, stability testing. Guidelines address stability studies to assess product shelf life and storage conditions. DRAP. Batch release. QC ensures each batch meets specifications before distribution. BioAssay. Process validation. Guidelines promote the validation of production processes for consistency and reliability. DRAP. Quality control laboratories. Establishment, organization, and management of laboratories for effective QC. 14. Personnel competence. Guidelines highlight the importance of trained and competent QC personnel. 15. Documentation and records. Detailed documentation of QC activities, test results, and deviations. 16. Quality control units. The role of QC units in overseeing and ensuring compliance with QC activities. 17. Sampling strategies. Defining representative sampling procedures for accurate QC testing. 18. Environmental monitoring, addressing cleanliness and control in production environments. 19. Traceability and accountability. Ensuring traceability of QC activities to ensure accountability and transparency. 20. Regulatory compliance. QC activities contribute to compliance with regulatory requirements and product approvals. 21. Validation of equipment. Ensuring analytical instruments and equipment are validated and calibrated. 22. Comprehensive testing. QC covers physical, chemical, biological, and microbiological testing. 23. Data integrity. Emphasis on maintaining accurate and reliable QC data. 24. Quality control in emergencies. Guidelines adapt to rapid production during public health emergencies. 25. Collaboration and partnerships. Collaborative efforts among stakeholders to enhance QC capabilities. 26. Pharmacovigilance and post-market monitoring. QC supports the detection of post-market safety issues. 27. Risk management strategies. Integrating risk assessment and management into QC processes. 28. Quality control for traditional medicines. Adapting QC principles for traditional and herbal medicines. 29. Global harmonization. Guidelines contribute to harmonizing QC practices globally. 30. Ethical considerations. Adhering to ethical standards in QC activities. 31. Quality control for vaccines. Specific QC requirements for ensuring vaccine safety and efficacy. 32. Capacity building. WHO supports capacity building initiatives for effective QC implementation. 33. Microbiological testing. Addressing microbial contamination risks and control measures. 34. Quality control audits, regular audits to ensure QC compliance and effectiveness. 35. Biopharmaceuticals and biologics. Specialized QC considerations for complex biopharmaceutical products. 36. Compliance with labeling and packaging. QC ensures product information accuracy and proper packaging. 37. Training and education. Guidelines support ongoing training for Q personnel. 38. QC in research and development. Applying QC principles during product development phases. 39. Outsourcing QC activities. Ensuring proper oversight and agreements for outsourced QC. 40. Real-time monitoring critical production parameters in real time. 41. Environmental considerations. Addressing environmental impact and waste management in QC. 42. Compliance with good distribution practices (GDP). QC contributes to proper storage and transportation conditions. 43. Product recall readiness. QC supports effective recall procedures if needed. 44. QC for radiopharmaceuticals. Specialized considerations for radioactive health products. 45. Adherence to pharmacopoeial standards. Aligning QC with established pharmacopoeial requirements. 46. Continual improvement. QC fosters continuous enhancement of production processes. 47. Supporting health equity. Guidelines contribute to equitable access to quality health products. 48. Ensuring data accuracy. QC methods ensure accurate and precise testing results. 49. Quality control for medical devices. Applying QC principles to medical device manufacturing. 50. Validation of cleaning procedures. Preventing cross-contamination through validated cleaning processes. On quality assurance. Question 1. 120 key points, pieces of information, and concise answers about WHO guidelines regarding quality assurance. 1. Defining quality assurance. Quality assurance ensures that processes, systems, and products consistently meet established quality standards. 2. Holistic approach. WUSCA guidelines cover the entire product life cycle, from research and development to distribution and post-market monitoring. 3. Adherence to standards. Guidelines emphasize alignment with international standards like good manufacturing practices, GMP and ISO requirements. 4. Preventing defects. CA focuses on preventing defects rather than detecting and correcting them afterward. 5. Regulatory compliance. CA ensures compliance with regulatory requirements and guidelines. 6. Risk management. Guidelines integrate risk assessment and management to prioritize and mitigate potential risks. 7. Quality policy and objectives. Establishing a clear quality policy and measurable objectives is fundamental. 8. Senior management involvement. Leadership commitment is vital for effective CA implementation. 9. Training and competence. Personnel should receive appropriate training and demonstrate competence. 10. Documented processes. CA activities are documented in well-defined processes and standard operating procedures. 11. Monitoring and auditing. Regular monitoring and internal audits verify adherence to CA standards. 12. Continuous improvement. CA fosters a culture of continuous improvement in all aspects of production. 13. Supplier and contractor management. Guidelines address CA for materials sourced externally. 14. Root cause analysis. CA requires investigating and addressing root causes of deviations or non-conformities. 15. Change control. Ka oversees controlled and documented changes to processes or systems. SOLA. Validation and verification. Guidelines include validation of critical processes and verification of implementation. Satra. Corrective and preventive actions. Effective actions are taken to address non-conformities and prevent recurrence. 18. Defining responsibilities. Ka outlines roles and responsibilities for quality-related activities. 19. Product quality reviews. Regular reviews assess product quality and process performance. 20. Effective communication. Communication channels ensure related information is shared across the organization. 21. Quality risk management. Guidelines include a systematic approach to identify, assess, and mitigate quality risks. 22. Batch release. Ka approval is necessary before product release for distribution. 23. Auditing external parties. Ka oversees audits of suppliers, contractors, and service providers. 24. Self-inspections. Internal self-inspections ensure compliance with Ka guidelines. 25. Data integrity. Ensuring accurate, complete, and reliable data is a core Ka principle. 26. Regulatory submissions. Ka ensures accuracy and integrity of data submitted to regulatory authorities. 27. Compliance with pharmacopoeias. Ka aligns with pharmacopoeial requirements for product quality. 28. Validation master plan. Guidelines emphasize developing a plan for process and system validation. 29. Performance metrics. Ka includes monitoring and analyzing key performance indicators. 30. Quality control and assurance distinction. Ka focuses on preventing issues, while QC focuses on testing and inspections. 31. Adaptive strategies. Ka adapts to changes in technology, regulations, and market demands. 32. Electronic records and signatures. Guidelines address electronic documentation and signatures. 33. Responsible manufacturing practices. Ka ensures ethical and responsible manufacturing. 34. Product life cycle management. Ka principles apply from product development to discontinuation. 35. Quality by design cubed, emphasizing the importance of designing quality into processes. 36. Stakeholder engagement. Ka involves engaging stakeholders for feedback and improvement. 37. Supply chain assurance. Guidelines address Ka throughout the supply chain. 38. Effective documentation. Ka emphasizes clear, accurate, and accessible documentation. 39. Adherence to ethical guidelines. Ka aligns with ethical principles in research and production. 40. Global harmonization. Ka guidelines contribute to harmonizing practices globally. 41. Validation of computerized systems. Ka ensures integrity and security of automated systems. 42. Effective problem solving. Ka supports systematic problem solving methodologies. 43. Design control. Ka includes controlling product design to meet quality objectives. 44. GMP compliance. Ka ensures compliance with GMP requirements. 45. Compliance audits. Ka oversees internal and external compliance audits. 46. Risk communication. Guidelines promote effective communication of quality-related risks. 47. Process control. Ka emphasizes controlling critical production processes. 48. Contamination prevention. Ka includes measures to prevent contamination risks. 49. Health and safety. Guidelines address Ka for occupational health and safety. 50. Batch records review. Ka reviews and approves batch records before release. 51. Performance qualification. Guidelines include qualification of equipment and systems. 52. Validation protocols. Ka oversees the preparation and execution of validation protocols. 53. Regulatory inspections. Ka supports preparation for regulatory inspections. 54. Pharmacovigilance and post-market surveillance. Ka ensures ongoing safety monitoring. 55. Supplier qualification. Ka assesses suppliers for quality compliance. 56. Process optimization. Ka promotes efficient and effective production processes. 57. Risk communication. Ka ensures timely and clear communication of quality risks. 58. Change management. Ka oversees controlled changes to processes and systems. 59. Environmental impact assessment. Guidelines address environmental considerations in Ka. 60. Process monitoring. Ka includes ongoing monitoring of critical process parameters. 61. External collaboration. Ka involves collaboration with regulatory authorities and partners. 62. Personnel training and development. Ka supports continuous education and training. 63. Data integrity controls. Ka ensures controls to prevent data manipulation. 64. Validation of cleaning procedures. Ka verifies cleaning process effectiveness. 65. Regulatory compliance assessments. Ka assesses compliance with regulations and guidelines. 66. Compliance with international standards. Ka aligns with ISO and other relevant standards. 67. Data trend analysis. Ka includes analysis of data trends for process improvement. 68. Traceability. Ka ensures traceability of materials and processes. 69. Emergency preparedness. Guidelines address Ka during health emergencies. 70. Monitoring process changes. Ka oversees changes to manufacturing processes. 71. Third-party audits. Ka supports audits conducted by external parties. 72. Quality oversight. Ka provides oversight of production processes. 73. Product recall management. Guidelines address Ka during product recalls. 74. Supplier monitoring. Ka monitors supplier performance and compliance. 75. Change impact assessments. Ka assesses potential impacts of changes. 76. Efficient resource allocation. Ka supports effective resource utilization. 77. Validation of packaging materials. Ka verifies packaging integrity. 78. Quality risk assessment reports. Guidelines include risk assessment documentation. 79. Data review and approval. Ka reviews and approves data generated. 80. Compliance verification. Ka verifies adherence to quality standards. 81. Process validation reports. Guidelines cover validation reporting. BioAssay. Regulatory submission compliance. Sitara ka ensures accuracy in regulatory submissions. Tirasi. Quality agreements. Guidelines address quality agreements with partners. Chaurasi. Adherence to good distribution practices (GDP) का supports product storage and transportation. Pachasi. Adaptive documentation management का adapts documentation to changing needs. छियासी. Effective change communication का communicates changes across the organization. Sattasi. Qualification of suppliers and contractors. Guidelines cover supplier qualification. 88. Risk mitigation plans का includes plans to mitigate identified risks. 89. Validation of software systems का ensures integrity of software used in production. 90. Compliance monitoring का monitors ongoing compliance with standards. 91. Process validation protocols. Guidelines cover validation protocol creation. 92. Management review का supports regular management reviews. 93. Data verification processes का ensures data accuracy through verification. 94. Compliance with ethical standards. Guidelines adhere to ethical principles. 95. Quality audit reports का oversees audit report preparation. 96. Quality training programs. Guidelines promote ongoing quality education. 97. Validation of aseptic processes का ensures aseptic process validation. 98. Compliance with occupational safety का supports workplace safety compliance. 99. Document version control. Guidelines include effective document version control. 100. Contingency plans का includes plans for unexpected events. 101. Quality incident management. Guidelines address management of quality incidents. 102. Risk communication protocols का promotes structured risk communication. 103. Verification of process changes. Guidelines cover process change verification. 104. Supplier compliance monitoring का ensures ongoing supplier compliance. 105. Equipment validation. Guidelines cover equipment validation. 106. Product quality review reports का oversees product quality review preparation. 107. Effective training documentation. Guidelines ensure proper training records. 108. Data integrity audits का supports audits of data integrity. 109. Change management documentation. Guidelines include change documentation. 110. Compliance with packaging regulations का ensures packaging regulatory compliance. 111. Product life cycle monitoring. Guidelines cover monitoring throughout the product life cycle. 112. Quality incident documentation का documents quality incidents. 113. Risk communication channels. Guidelines promote effective risk communication. 114. Verification of document changes का verifies changes in documents. 115. Supplier audit reports. Guidelines address supplier audit reports. एक 16 Design Review Documentation का Overseas Design Review Documentation एक 17 Validation of Sterilization Processes Guidelines cover sterilization process validation एक 18 Compliance with Health and Safety Standards का supports health and safety compliance एक 19 Product Discontinuation Plans Guidelines address product discontinuation एक 20 Quality Culture Promotion का promotes a culture of quality throughout the organization. Question 2. Topic on WHO guidelines on the topic of quality assurance. 1. Ensuring product integrity. WHO's quality assurance का guidelines focus on ensuring that health products consistently meet established quality standards and specifications. 2. Holistic life cycle approach. Guidelines encompass the entire product life cycle, from research and development to distribution and post-market surveillance. 3. Global harmonization. का principles align with international standards such as good manufacturing practices, GMP, and international pharmacopoeias. 4. Preventing defects. का emphasizes preventive measures to avoid defects, deviations, and non-conformities during production. 5. Leadership commitment. Senior management plays a pivotal role in fostering a culture of quality and commitment to CA implementation. 6. Risk management integration. Guidelines incorporate risk assessment and management strategies to identify and mitigate potential risks. 7. Quality policy establishment. Defining a clear quality policy and measurable objectives is fundamental to CA success. 8. Documentation and standardization. CA activities are documented in standardized processes, procedures, and protocols. 9. Monitoring and auditing. Regular monitoring, internal audits, and self-inspections verify compliance with CA standards. 10. Continuous improvement. CA fosters a culture of continuous improvement to enhance processes, systems, and product quality. 11. Supplier and contractor oversight. Guidelines extend CA principles to external partners, ensuring their compliance with quality standards. 12. Root cause analysis. CA investigates and addresses root causes of deviations to prevent recurrence and improve processes. 13. Change management. CA oversees controlled changes to processes, systems, and materials, ensuring minimal impact on quality. 14. Validation and verification. Guidelines require validation of critical processes and verification of successful implementation. 15. Corrective and preventive actions. CA ensures swift and effective actions are taken to address non-conformities and prevent future issues. 16. Product quality reviews. Regular reviews assess product quality, manufacturing processes, and performance against standards. 17. Communication and transparency. CA emphasizes effective communication channels to disseminate quality-related information across the organization. 18. Quality risk management. A systematic approach is used to assess and mitigate potential quality-related risks. 19. Batch release and compliance. CA approval is crucial before product batches are released for distribution, ensuring compliance with specifications. 20. Validation master plan. Guidelines encompass a master plan for process and system validation to ensure consistency and reliability. Pick keys. Training and competence. CA promotes ongoing training and development of personnel to ensure expertise and competence. Bias. Data integrity and accuracy. Guidelines ensure the accuracy, completeness, and reliability of data throughout the product life cycle. TAIS. Regulatory compliance. CA activities contribute to compliance with regulatory requirements and guidelines. SHOBIS. Performance metrics. Monitoring and analysis of key performance indicators drive CA-driven improvements. Purchase. Ethical considerations. CA adheres to ethical principles in research, production, and distribution. SHOBIS. Global collaboration. CA encourages collaboration with regulatory authorities and partners to ensure consistent quality. 27. Effective problem solving. CA supports systematic problem-solving methodologies to address quality issues. 28. Risk communication channels. Guidelines promote structured risk communication to all relevant stakeholders. 29. Effective supplier management. CA ensures qualification and ongoing monitoring of suppliers and contractors. 30. Product recall preparedness. CA addresses procedures for effective product recall management. 31. Traceability and accountability. CA ensures traceability of materials, processes, and actions for accountability. 32. Health and safety integration. Guidelines emphasize health and safety considerations in CA practices. 33. Process control and monitoring. CA oversees critical production processes to maintain consistency and quality. 34. Management review. Regular management reviews assess the effectiveness of CA systems and strategies. 35. Validation of critical equipment. Guidelines encompass validation of equipment and systems used in production. 36. Risk assessment documentation. CA documents risk assessments and management plans. 37. Data review and approval. CA reviews and approves data generated during various processes. 38. Compliance audits. Regular compliance audits ensure adherence to quality standards. 39. Validation protocols. Guidelines cover the preparation and execution of validation protocols. 40. Quality oversight. CA provides oversight of production processes, systems, and activities. 41. Quality by design cubed. CA emphasizes designing quality into processes, preventing issues proactively. 42. Change impact assessments. CA assesses potential impacts of changes to ensure minimal disruption to quality. 43. Regulatory submission compliance. CA ensures accuracy and integrity of data submitted to regulatory authorities. 44. Compliance with ethical standards. Guidelines uphold ethical principles in research, development, and production. 45. Performance qualification. CA includes qualification of equipment and systems used in production. 46. Product discontinuation plans. Guidelines address procedures for product discontinuation and end-of-life management. 47. Efficient resource allocation. CA supports optimal allocation of resources for quality improvement. 48. Supplier Audit Management का oversees audits conducted by external parties to ensure compliance. 49. Documented Change Management Guidelines emphasize documentation of changes and associated processes. 50. Contingency Planning का includes plans for unforeseen events and emergencies to maintain quality. Get this lecture in text or PDF form from our YouTube channel, Pharmacy Jobs or MCQs. 1. This lecture is available in text form, in the comments under this video. 2. This lecture is also available in PDF form, in the community section inside our YouTube channel. Kind regards. Dr. Majid Bhatti Pharmacist. PharmD, MPhil, LL. Vice President, Pakistan Pharmacists Association PPA Punjab, 2023 to 2025. Contact, जुमा 9 खरब 23 अरब 21 करोड़ 40 लाख 42 हजार 36. Thank you.